Hello, and welcome to Donkamed channel. Donkamed means many blades, and with the monkey mind, swinging from blade to blade, from project to project, never quite satisfied, yet, upon occasion, we come up with a noteworthy product, and I believe this is one such. Linder Super Edge X7 Evo, excuse me, I'll start again. Linder Super Edge Evo X7 in Nitro X7 steel all the way from Solingen, Germany. Lightly scritchy scratched by yours truly. Experimentally. Experientially. I gather that Linda, the brand, was going under. And one Mr. Wanger, who already owned his own knife brand, came in and purchased the rights and saved the mark. And then he got together with some other luminaries. Joe Vogel, Kase of Switzerland. And this is what they're producing, this kind of thing. There's a whole range of super edge knives. There's a heavy-duty Tanto. I forget the steel on that one, but that one is also enticing. A whole look, but I found this specifically because I got this real steel G-drop in Nitro X7, and I found the steel delightful, but it's such a tiny knife. I wanted to see if there was something a little more serious out there, and goodness me, my wish was already anticipated by the universe, for this knife existed, and I knew from the moment that I saw it in pictures that I wanted two, and so I got two of them. Look how thick that is. Nitro X7. And so I've also, along the way, I picked up some of the scoop, but here is a piece of lilac wood that I've chosen as a handle for my buck hawkbill. That is absolutely excellent, but the rubber grips were giving me blisters. And something funny is happening with the lighting once I pulled this out. But anyway, I figured I would whittle on this a little bit and demonstrate. Oopsie daisy. See that? It's just the epidermis. Yeah, that's a polished edge will do that more than a toothy edge. You know, a toothy edge, if you just touch it, you know, it's like if you just touch the teeth of a saw, but you don't rake them. But a polished edge just goes right in. And this takes a polished edge. So what I was going to say is, according to what I found out, you know, it's not just MagnaCut and CPM over from Crucible and all that stuff. There seems to be some kind of trend in the industry, because I picked up in various posts, and then, you know, I did a Google question to kind of see whether this was bona fide, and it seems that, yeah, they like cut back production on this whole family of steels, Nitro V, Nitro X7, which is a brand new fabadocious thing, but Bowler just said, you know what, we're not going to do it. They're switching from, they're not cold rolling anymore, they're only hot rolling in limited quantities or something. So anyway, I was like, well, all the more reason to get it while the going's good. And I also read a similar thing about ZDP 189. And I don't think it's discontinued, but it's just like, they're not making it to the same degree or something. It could be just because when everything was going well in the knife world, they made so much of these steels that now that things are in decline, they're like, okay, well, there's enough to be getting on with. We don't need to keep cranking this out if the demand has slowed down. I guess that's plausible. So, you know, look at how shiny this finish is that this thing's leaving. You know, compared to whatever I was whittling on with it last, which wouldn't have been a bad knife or a dull knife, I don't suppose. But you know, so you handle it and it'll get roughed up and what have you. But you know, this is really exactly what I was hoping for. You know, it's like ABL times X, right? And supposedly that's what they were going for. They figured that they could create an upgraded version of AEBL Nitro V. Not really, you know, it's progressing on from Nitro V to take on the other big super steels. I guess, you know, it's like a Magna Cut killer, right? That was the idea with Nitro X7. No, I mean, I can't. That's just my speculation to start out, and as to whether that's a success story, I don't know. I can't comment, right? But you know, let's see what happens after a little bit of this very worn 400. Extremely, just totally flattened out. Just curious to see how, because I found that this seemed to respond quite well to my Naniwa stone, which usually doesn't do well with super steels. Even though I think it has diamond in it, but overall it's kind of, it's too, oh wow. Oh yeah. That digs in a lot more. We were at 1,000 grit earlier. Maybe I like the toothier edge for this, because, yeah, I think I definitely do, because we're just roughing out. I'm getting more into my toothy edges now, funnily enough. I wasn't expecting that to happen. Guess I thought I was just going to get more and more polished and shiny as time progressed, but you know, depending on what you're doing, yeah, if I'm finishing this handle and I want a glassy finish, I guess then I go up in the grits. It only takes a second to change the teeth on the edge anyway. So yeah, what I'm doing with this right now is trying to get it kind of squared off, which well, first of all, what I'm doing is trying to get the edges all kind of squared off. I mean, allowing for this, you know, but and then these sides aren't so important, but there's no sense in flattening on something that's going to go anyway, so I'll just take that off. But what I'm saying is they don't have to be perfectly flat, but I want the sides to be really flat, or if not completely flat, then slightly concave, so that they lie flat, and then I can work on them easily. So yeah, get this squared off, get them flattened out, and then I can grip it in a vise, split it down the middle with a saw, do the incrustation, make some lilac pins, all that kind of good stuff. While I'm here, I might test out another knife that I've been carrying and using a little today. This little number, the Answer Sheep's Foot EDC fixed blade. Oh. Okay, well that's just something else. Yeah. See later, it doesn't quite have that edge stability to be able to handle the rough bits in the same way, but wow, that shaving it just took off. That was neat. Who knows? Maybe I'm done for the apex. Yeah. That feels lovely, but I do think the other knife is a little more effective, especially because what I'm going to be doing is trying to hollow in down here. Once it's a little hollowed, then I can put it flat on a piece of sandpaper on a flat surface and get it very close to flat. Come to think of it, I also did want to do some shaping on this block. Oh yeah, that's right. So what I need to do is find a swayback handle. of the right specification. Oh. This looks pretty good. Yeah. Why even bother with this whole thing? Why not just take this thing out and use it? I have no good answer to this question. Except it needs sharpening. I've started, so I'll finish. It's an ocean. An ocean in the ocean. So, would it make sense to cut in, split this, use a saw, something like that? Or should I just rip into it for... Oh, I don't know. It's a resource. It's a resource. Yeah, okay, we'll leave that. I'll cut that out. But this, on the other hand, we can go for it. Yeah, it couldn't possibly be as keen a cutter as the answer because of the geometry. But what it has is the stability, you know? It's the stability. I love it. Yeah, I'm sure like down here, if I'm taking off a corner like this thing will probably dig in. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, we could do a little tag teaming here, actually. See here, it just, once you get into the, yeah, it starts to get a little more, I don't know. Anyway, this is like a brand new edge. Still working it in. Holy smokes. Ooh. That click. Immaculate. Whoops, I'm getting a little close to the line there. There's one crack in this block, apparently. Oh, no, there's more than one. Huh, didn't notice those before. Maybe they just happened. Anyway, it's pretty stable. If it hasn't all split out up here, and splitting it down the middle, that'll relieve more stress. We'll just epoxy all the cracks later. It'll be fine. It's just a personal use, handy pocket hawkbill. Nothing fancy. Yeah. I mean, for a pocket fixed blade, I think that's where it's at for me. But for the refined belt knife, because I'm also, I'm getting all into the 5160 and the toothy edges and the on the one hand. But I hadn't even really tried a toothy edge on this yet. It's a survival knife, This is kind of like, wow, if you could just have one, I would want this with a different handle on it. Certainly. The shape is awesome. I love the shape. Shape works really well in all kinds of positions. And good, but I'm just not such a fan of the rubbery stuff, you know. That's why I'm doing this. Oh, this stuff smells divine. Lilac. Yeah, so I think what I'll do here is, oops, maybe just cut in kind of like that with the saw, and then see whether I can't. It's sketchy, you know. Splitting is a little risque. I wouldn't want to smash this thing. But yeah, so maybe not, huh? Maybe that's not a good way to go. Maybe I'll just whittle this. Just give it large. Linda Super Edge. Nitro X7. Guys, I think I might have found my knife. I'll have to order a couple more while the going's good. Maybe even try out some more knives from the range. Yeah, okay. I'm kind of scrubbed off the edge here. Let's try a fresh 1000. I think this stuff is a really good test of edge retention because it's quite, you know, as long as the grain is true, it's quite kind of easy and pleasurable to whittle. But make no mistake, the wood is extremely tough. So it's putting your edge through a lot of stress when you power it through this. Way tougher than oak, for example. Not quite up there with ebony, but getting there. This is like a 2,600 Janka or something. Oak, I think, is like 1,800. Ebony might be 3. Lignum vitae is like 4 or 5, or I don't know. I'm not really clear on that, actually. Put that out of the line of fire. Oops. Working to keep this on camera. Thanks for watching.